Welcome, welcome, welcome. On this week's episode, we're going to be looking at why you should choose a plate carrier or why you should choose a Chestrig. This one's the brand new one from Novritsch, so I'm going to be showing you a wee bit on that as well. Okay, so as mentioned, I said that I was going to talk over plate carriers and Chestrigs, but I'll go into some of the gear that I use first of all and give you a bit of insight as to why I use it. It's maybe not the best option for me. It most definitely probably isn't the best option for you. You guys gotta go, maybe pick out a few wee bits of information, tips, tricks, whatever you want from me and apply it to your needs, okay? So first up, one of the things that I always use is my belt. So this is my battle belt, the shooter belt. It's very low profile. I know you get the big sort of combat looking things and you can attach a harness and all. I don't bother with that. This one was very, very cheap. It was off AliExpress or Amazon maybe. It's by a company called I Do Gear. It's got a really cool buckle and that has never broke on me, never let me down. And you also get this Velcro belt. So this Velcro belt would typically go around my combats. I would thread it through into my combats themselves. And then this belt is the opposite Velcro on the inside, and that obviously sticks to it. I'm not going to do it because I'm just going to show you the battle belt itself. So what do I run on my battle belt? Typically I run 2 mag pouches for my pistol, whether that be an MK23, the SSP18, the SSP5 are typically my go-tos at the minute and have been for the past couple of years. I run 2 pistol magazines on my belt and 1 AR mag pouch here on the side if I'm ever running AR. Sometimes I don't even run an AR, I run a sniper or an SMG or something and this becomes obsolete. What I can do though, if I've got 1 spare of these, is grab my speed loader and dump it in, or grab a wee sort of snack and stuff it in. Next up I have my dump pouch. A lot of times if I'm running HPA, I just use the small bottle. This is 13 CI and it typically sits in my dump pouch. If I'm in a real hurry and I'm changing mags, I typically throw the mag that I'm not going to be using into my dump pouch. I don't bother putting it back in my Chestrig. It's just the way I do it. If I'm not running the HPA, then it obviously makes this a lot lighter. I am going to switch this from the 13 CI steel bottle to a 20 CI carbon fiber bottle. That will actually save a tiny bit of weight, but it'll get me a lot more air. So this bottle would typically, even if I'm running an AR, MTW or Catherine's Evo Athena Evo, this would still probably last me 2 whole game days. I'm not a big shooter. On the other side of the belt, so on my right hand side, I've newly added this Quake 8 grenade holster, and one of the holsters that I've been using non-stop is the universal holster by Novritsch. I've been running it on the SSP5, the SSP18. I've modded the AAP to take it as well, and it just means that stays on my side at all times. If I'm running the MK23, which is the only pistol that I have that doesn't work with this system, I typically put it in a cross draw position anyway, so it's kind of a wee bit obsolete, but this hasn't left my belt since it came out. So that's typically what I run belt wise. So first up we have plate carriers. So this is my one. I got it sent out to me by the Novritsch team to review, to use content on, but really enjoyed using it. I never really used to be a plate carrier guy, and I'll tell you why. So let's start with the cons for me. Plate carriers are very rigid, they're typically quite warm, and in the summertime they aren't very comfortable for me. Also, whenever I'm sneaking through like bushes, trees, and I'm in my ghillie suit or I'm trying to climb something, There's a lot less side movement. Whenever you're leaning around to take shots, it digs into you. It's just not as maneuverable as a Chestrig. So throwing that right out there, that's why I don't like plate carriers. But let's get into the reason why you've seen this plate carrier on my channel over and over again. The reason being that it allows me to add near enough everything I need. I can put a hydro pack or a backpack with HPA. I've got my rifle strap, which is a single point here, and it runs through these lovely padded shoulder pads, and it doesn't dig into me. It takes the weight of my riffs really, really nicely, and it's very, very comfortable on long days, especially milsims. I was away in Hungary with Mania Airsoft, and I ran the Novritsch plate carrier for that, and it was brilliant. Next reason why I use it is you get all this mole real estate. So no matter what I'm doing, if I'm traveling, I can pretty much bring an empty plate carrier and add anything I want to the mission at hand. Normally what I have on my plate carrier, and it never comes off, is some type of admin pouch. This is like the Gen 3 universal pouch. It's got like a space for my phone, power banks, snacks, any intel from milsims that we get or anything extra. We also have my push to talk, and for headphones or listening to radios, I use kind of like Earmore copies. I think they're made by Watson or Skycom or something, I don't know. I don't really pay attention to them. They have active listening, so I have them turned up to the max so I can hear absolutely everything. The first time I tried them, I thought, I don't want anything covering my ears. As a ghillie sniper, I love to be quiet, I love to stalk, and I love to listen. So it seemed kind of counterintuitive to cover my ears into something, which actually turned out to be the total opposite. I bang these babies up and I can hear a squirrel fart 100 yards away. So it's brilliant. That's why I use them. The mic is nice and neat to my mouth, doesn't snag. The cables are all wired really, really nicely. It's very easy to use, and it hasn't really let me down. The thing that lets me down the most are these push to talk. Every so often the contacts may have a bit of rust, and also you can unscrew these, open them up, clean the contacts, and hopefully that'll get your headset and your voice transmitting and receiving way better. But they are fairly cheap, so you could have one of these spare in your kit if you're doing a long milsim and just switch it out. Next reason why I like a plate carrier is they're so customizable. I can have mag pouches, I can bang them on. Typically I run 2 AR mag pouches on the front along with 2 pistol pouches on the side here. Yeah, and that's all the ammo that I typically run. I've also got a spare AR mag on my side, so that gives me like 4 mags, which nowadays is like 600 rounds. So if I haven't hit anybody in 600 rounds, or I use up all those 600 rounds, then I'm not typically doing my job very well, which is trying to be pinpoint accurate, 1 shot, 1 kill. And that is my plate carrier. That's why I use a plate carrier. The only other reason I suggest for you and for me to use a plate carrier, and it's quite a biggie for airsoft, is, and you may be triggered by this, it's the cosplay aspect of it. It's the looks. Some people run plate carriers, they aren't set up really well, they don't really know how they're set up or why they're set up the way they are, but they just set them up just because that's the way Call of Duty does it, or that's their favorite movie character that does it, or their favorite Instagram influencer uses it, and it's for the look. It makes you more like a plastic operator. So if you like that, then get the plate carrier. So I typically always run some sort of ghillie, whether that be a BDU with halo screen on it and a few cottons, or nano screen. This here is my Stalker green ghillie. As you can see, it's pretty heavily crafted. So I've had to do the same with my Chestrig, but it kind of blends nicely. You can't really tell that it's a plate carrier. I've also done my mag pouches, so they're nicely covered. And yeah, the plate carrier can fit into a ghillie scenario. It works for me. So if you want to do that, fill your boots. So the other interesting thing about plate carriers versus chest rigs is you can actually mix and match them. So this is one of the chest rigs that I've used now for about 3, 4, 5 scary years. And this is a Helicon mini rig or mini training rig. It starred in lots of my videos, including a crafting video on how to craft your equipment and chest rigs, so be sure to check that out if you're interested in. But normally I run this either as a chest rig, but what I can do is ditch the actual harness part and click it into my Novritsch chest rig, like so. Unfortunately, this chest rig doesn't have any Velcro on the underside, but I leave the waistband strap on. Did I say strap on? Can you say strap on YouTube? Will I get banned? Oh. So with the waistband in place, that is now the chest rig. That's not going to go anywhere. I can jump out of a building, out of a plane, I could go swimming in this thing, and this chest rig will not come off. So why do I add a chest rig instead of pouches? Normally just for more carrying space. It means I've got lots of admin pouches. I've got my scrote pouch, which I normally carry my nades in. I've got extra radio pouches, pistol pouches. I've got a lovely position here for a cross draw. So when I'm running my MK23, this DDT holster would typically be in my cross draw position whenever I've got my rifle up, instead of reaching the whole way down, which takes an extremely long time if someone's watching you. You want to go as slowly as possible. It takes 10 seconds to reach your hip, but if I've got my riff up and someone's looking at me, it's a short movement and the pistol comes out. So that's why I like the cross draw. Integrating the chest rig with a plate carrier is another option. Beware, this adds more weight to your setup. If you're running about in hot countries, make sure that you're hydrating really well. But if you're wanting a lighter setup, you could easily ditch this plate carrier and just stick to the harness of the chest rig, and you would have all these admin pouches. You would have the scrote pouch, you would have your magazine pouches, you would have the magazine pouches on your belt. You also, in the center of the chest rig, have these inserts. Now the center of this one is all Velcro based, so you put Velcro inserts. I run M4 pouches in here or SMG pouches, which allow me to take TAC 41, SMG, SSQ22, the Evo mags. So it's very, very functional. And that is my integrated system. So you may see me using this from time to time. And it is all gillied up and it suits me really well. Okay, so the next chest rig that I have been using throughout the past few years is the Stalker chest rig. Now this, in terms of features, is one of my favorites. Not only can you buy this chest rig with the ghillie covers and the leaf suit covers, which blend into the actual leaf suit, but it has everything I need. You have the big major pocket at the front with zips and compartments, everything that you need for longer games, milsims. Store extra BBs, speed loaders, chocolate bars, power banks, whatever you want, it'll fit in there. The other good thing about the Stalker chest rig is it has a few more accessories designated towards snipers, so VSRs, TAC 41 mags, and most importantly SRS mags, which are quite an awkward shape. They all fit in the elastic inserts that you can get, so that's another benefit. How I have mine set up is I have my radio closest to me, and I have a flexible antenna that runs up along my chest rig strap, around my head and down the other side. I also have two pistol pouches. I switched the closed pistol pouches out for Novritsch pistol pouches. The reason being, these are open, there's no Velcro involved, so it can be extra sneaky, but they're quick release, quick put in. They just work better for me. On the other side, the Stalker has the cross-draw molly system. So I have been fortunate enough to still have a universal Stalker holster, which is really, really good for the MK23. Rather than using Velcro, it has these elastic bungees. The reason I like using the Stalker universal holster as opposed to DDT, whenever you have your MK23 or SSX23 gillied up, you typically have lots of leaf litter involved, and sometimes that catches on the DDT. You think that it's clicked in properly and it hasn't. An hour later, you look down and you've lost your pistol. So the DDT is a bit of a love-hate for me. Yes, it retains really, really well. It's very, very easy to use, but putting it back in, typically you need two hands and you need to remember about it all the time. With this system, it's a really large bucket. It fits in with the silencer, and most importantly, it has the bungee, which is silent. If I'm stalking someone and there's a patrol around me and need to ditch the bolt action sniper and get out my pistol, it's very, very quiet, you know, so brilliant. I have tried Kydex ones and they were typically very, very noisy and clunky. You know, just didn't like it. So these bucket style universal holsters work perfectly for me. I know Viper do some, One Tigris do some, 8 Fields do them. You can get them and they fit very well for the MK23, but as I said, the reason I use the Stalker one is because of the elastic. It means that it's silent instead of big Velcro or poppers making lots of noise. So that is why I use that. The Stalker chest rig comes with all these pouches and inserts and everything, and the screw pouch already on it. So once you buy it, you've pretty much got your ghillie set up already. The one thing that I don't like about the chest rig, I've got my buddy Carl Tasmania here to give me a hand tightening this thing up because I haven't used it in a while, so the little straps had loosened. So I've got it tight to where I need it to be, but if you look at the shoulder straps, they just hang off me. So there's no adjustment on the back, and that becomes really, really annoying. What I've had to do is get these reusable cable ties. And I have to slip them through and pull that tight, and that pulls the chest rig straps in. Now, I'm 5'6", I don't particularly have a very large back, so it's just a fitment thing for me, but it would be really nice if you have a chest rig that there's a system that fits all or is adjustable. That's my only gripe about it. The chest rig does come with the ghillie covers on the front and on the screw pouch, and also the H-rig part of the straps. They're all leafy covered. However, I took mine off because I typically run a backpack with this setup. Jeez. So with the backpack installed, I've ghillied the straps of the backpack and they cover the H-rig straps, so I didn't feel the need that they needed to be ghillied as well. And the reason I use a backpack is for hydration purposes. It's got the camel pack in the back, and especially on those long warm days, get the fluids into me. And that is typically my other chest rig setup. So that is the Stalker chest rig. I prefer it over the Helican one. It's brown, so I typically only use this whenever I'm running my brown suits. So in Ireland, I actually hardly ever get to use this one, but it is my favorite out of the lot. That being said, badoosh, the Novritsch team have sent me out their brand new chest rig, and I'm actually quite intrigued by it because Evo Athena uses her Viper VX tiny modular, whatever you call it, and it works really, really well for her. And I've often thought, let's try and minimalize my chest rig, not just run a belt, but a chest rig. And with a half decent chest rig, I could possibly even ditch the belt. So let's get a look at it. Okay, so this is the Novritsch chest rig. As you can see, I've added a few little modifications to it already in the way of how I'm going to be running this. I do have a night game coming up on the 24th of March, and I've decided to use this chest rig with one of my Stalker suits. The reason for that is the Stalker suit is near IR compliant, and so it'll help me blend into the background. Now, I have done IR tests on this, and unfortunately it glows quite a bit similar to civilian clothing as what you'd expect. So what I'm going to do is get some of the con camo material or con camo leaves and just dart them around the chest rig. I don't necessarily need the chest rig to come up black in the IR. I want it to blend with the background, i.e. the bushes, the shrubbery and everything. So I'll want patches of dark, I'll want patches of light, and just give me a really good breakup, the same as a daytime ghillie. But getting back to the chest rig, they have sent me out all various type of inserts. Per M4 insert you get 3 M4 mags. This is really confusing in my head. But the chest rig is made up of basically just this bit. I've added on the screw pouch, and the main compartment here is split into 2, similar to the Viper VX buckle up modular, whatever you call that, the Evo Athena one. I've got 3 M4 pouches in the front and 3 in the back. Now they come with these elastic pullovers to help retain them in whenever you're running about, but I'm actually going to untie these and ditch them. I've never found a problem with M4 mags or any of my mags falling out of the elastic system, but I left them on just for you to see. Now the M4 pouches don't have anything underneath them, so if you're running the EMP1S mags, which are shorter mags, they will fall the whole way down and be really difficult to grab to get out. So what you can do is do what they've done with the DMR inserts. So these DMR inserts are slightly wider, unlike the Viper one, which you can only have 2 DMR mags in each compartment. Novritsch have managed to fit 3 DMR mags, so that's 6 altogether and 1 in your riff. But if you look at the bottom, you can actually change the depth of these. So because we've been able to use these to lock out the bottom and stop mags from slipping down, I've been able to fit SRS mags in, which is really exciting because this chest rig could ideally suit SRS players as well. But moving back to the M4 pouches, if you go out and buy a bit of Velcro, you could then Velcro the bottom and just help hold the short M4 mags up out of the way, so they're a lot easier to grab. In at the back here though are regular M4 mags. These are actually the new Novritsch 220 round BB mags, and they work a charm for me. So I'll be running these in the very near future, and you can fit 3 in, and even if I push them right to the bottom, they'll stick out at a lovely height, making them really easy, and they're retaining really well. So if I want to deliberately pull them out, I can, but there is no way they're going to fall out with what I do in airsoft. So I'm happy enough to take all these little bungees off. Moving on to the back of the chest rig, I've got the screw pouch attached, so ignore that, but you have this nice padded back. You can exchange this for the plate carrier Velcro, and this just gives you a lot more Velcro real estate to stick to your Novritsch plate carrier or any other plate carrier for that matter. On the side then, I may attach my radio, or I may get my grenade holster and put it on there. I'm not too sure yet. I've also got some MOLLE real estate here, so I might attach my radio onto here. I'm not too sure yet, but certainly on the side I'm going to be running the SSE 18. It's nice and quiet. It's smaller than the MK23 and it gives me a lot more rounds. I'm also able to attach a 14mm tracer on the front of this for the night game. I can run the big mags, so I'll have lots of ammo and hopefully recreate a scene out of Star Wars at nighttime with this bad boy. Moving on to the next important thing for me is the harness part itself. It's an X shape, so X shapes typically fit better than the H shape that you've seen with the Stalker. So I'm a really small dude. The Stalker one is a wee bit big for me, so it slips off and I have to cable tie them up. With an X system, it helps prevent that. So this chest rig will hopefully fit everybody a lot better, no matter what size you are. There's a lot of suspension on here. hopefully they won't stretch out over time and loosen up and do that weird thing that elastic does. Hopefully they'll hold it and keep it nice and comfortable, but the pads themselves are a lot more comfier than any of the other Chestrigs, which typically just seem to be like the one type of material. So they're definitely cozier. And a nice feature that the Novritsch team have added these sort of retention clips. So once you get to the size that you want, you fold up all this material into a little ball, you pull that over and that'll hold that on. You get 4 of these for each strap involved, but what I'm going to do is actually just take these off and possibly PVC tape, and that'll free me up these little clips to use for my radio and my PTT and hold that tighter to my rig. I'm not too sure yet, it's just me thinking. So that is the Novritsch Chestrig and how I'm going to be running it, and I'm actually really looking forward to it. With this setup, I actually don't need my belt, so we'll see how it goes. I'm probably going to do a wee bit of crafting with the con camo and maybe some halo screen and nano screen. I'm not too sure yet, but this is the way I'll be running it in the upcoming videos. So if you're interested, make sure to check them out. The other inserts that they have available, other than the M4 and the DMR style, which this is the MDRX 762 style mags, but you can also get these pistol or SMG mag inserts. These typically come in quad or even triple for normal chest rigs, depending on the width. But because this one is so wide, you actually get 5, which is really, really handy. So if you wanted to carry 5 different weapons like these, you could. Obviously, I'm not advising you to do that. I just put in all these mags to show you what's available. So you can put in MP5 mags. They're a wee bit slippy. Yeah, we'll see. We have the MK23, which are chunky boys. We have the SSQ. They retain really, really nicely. We've got Evo Athena's mags, and we have SSP 18 and G style mags. So you could split that up. You could run SMGs or mix and match between pistols. You can also do what I do, which is often stick in my speed loader. So it doesn't quite hold it tight, but it holds it enough for me in airsoft. I'm never really doing any handstands, so I've never lost a speed loader, touch wood. The other thing that I'm going to attach to my chest rig is something that Taz and I wore in Hungary. It's just a little bike light. You can get these really cheap on Amazon, and it just allows players to know at night that you've been hit and will hopefully stop us from getting overshot. But I think we will still get overshot because it's airsoft, so stop giving off. What else did I think I was going to run on this chest rig? I do have an extra pistol pouch, so what I might do is attach this onto my left strap, and that way I'll put my Insta360 pole into it, and that'll give you guys another type of experience. It probably won't be all that helpful for a night game because the low light isn't all that good for the Insta360. And the only other thing that I may add is an actual radio pouch, and that would free up the real estate on my straps if I wanted to use something else, but I'm not too sure. I'm going to have a play. The other thing that I need to work out is if I'm running the SSE 18, how am I going to carry these mags? Because at the minute the elastic isn't really going to hold these in place too well. Even if I have 2 of them, they're going to slide out definitely, and they're very, very heavy. I would say me crawling about, because they're so slippy as well, if I lean over, they'll just fall out. So I'm not quite sure. I may have to get another pistol pouch and add the SSE insert to get them to work. We also have this big bad boy that allows me to carry more ammo, so I'm not too sure. But guys, thank you very much for staying to the end of the video. As mentioned, you can get all this stuff pretty much now on the Novritsch website, and if you want to use my affiliate link, you can. But in the meantime, I will have a lot more content coming out. You may have noticed that we changed slightly here in the office. I'll probably do a video updating you on what all has been going down. But guys, in the meantime, peace.